Hello, dear friends. Here we are, 21 days to spiritual awakening. And today is day 13th, chapter 12 of the book Voltei, I Am Back. The book is originally in Portuguese and translated into English thanks to the efforts of wonderful friends. And we have been promoting this journey together to really deepen ourselves in our awakening. It's very important not to lose sight that we're here temporarily. But the beauty of it all is that life goes on. Life continues, and the opportunities of learning and serving never, ever stop. And you're invited to join us once again in this single and most beautiful day, June 17th, when we are getting halfway through the year. Yes, halfway through the year. And we are here celebrating the blessing of this reincarnation. We cannot take it for granted. Brother Jacob, or Frederico Figner, his name, his pseudonym, Brother Jacob, but his name in his last reincarnation, Frederico Figner, comes back and kindly, in a very compassionate way, sends us details about the journey of his and reminding us, saying, friends, don't forget the priorities of this life. Yes, it's important to calibrate and recalibrate yourself each and every day. And here we are together, and being in this community, it's much easier, because as God put it all together, the law of society, we evolve faster together, we're stronger together, we can take, and I quote unquote, shortcuts. And you know why? Because we have also an inbuilt physiology to learn more with one another. But then, of course, you know, we need to select the companions, and the chapter today is about Brother Jacob's companions. You will see that the people who are visiting him in the afterlife pertain to the choices he made in this life. Doesn't mean we're not going to be friends with people. It means we're going to select those whom we're going to work with to be more productive and to help others. As Emmanuel used to say to Chico Xavier, you need to be aware. There are people who need you to teach them, and there are people whom you need to be open to learn. But never do the reverse, because then you'll be confused. And that's the much confusion that happens in people's lives, because often they are expecting teachings from those in their lives who are not able to teach yet. I mean, ostensibly teaching. And they expect to teach to those who are there to teach them. So we need to observe what Emmanuel suggested, and in this very chapter, it's all about that. It's all about knowing how and when to absorb lessons from others, and when we are recruited by God to share lessons with others. Okay? All right, my friends. So welcome, welcome, dear soul. Now you're here, let us grow. Let us love, let us serve, let us help everyone. Welcome, welcome, dear soul, and I'm here to love you so, and I know you're feeling the same, right? So, in this beautiful chapter, Among Companions, we are going to open up to ourselves and the continuation of life. So let me share here with the friends who are watching us elsewhere, or who want to watch and they don't have a straight connection. And as soon as we finish this, we can hug each other, virtually speaking. Shall we? If you were able to listen to Kardec Radio Show today, Saturday at 11 a.m., we did a live interview with a psychologist who is renowned in the United States, Dr. Joel Gallenberger. His beautiful and compelling story about his brother who committed suicide and how that pushed him to his own coping and the coping of family, right? Lea Severo. And he talks about the importance of hugging. So if you're in America, and people say, here in America we don't hug. Yes, we do. And there are American friends and psychologists and specialists who are saying, go hug your loved ones. That's therapeutic, okay? So virtual hugs to all of you. A hug on you, Ceisa. Hug, hug, hug. Hug on you, Lea Severo. Hug on you, my friend Carol Correa and my friend Mark Smith, who are listening to us through the app, right? Hug on you, Andrea Torres. Hug on you, Leonor Pacheco. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Hug on you, Valéria Benfica. Hug on Adilson Araújo. Right? It's so good. Feel it. Hug Rihanna, my friend Rihanna. Don't forget, friends. Spiritist books. Shoo, volitating from your house to Kardec Radio, from Kardec Radio to South Africa. Okay, the campaign ends on July 4th. Independence Day in the United States of America. And hug on you, Sol. Thank you, Sol. Hug to you, Adil Jailton. Hug Teresa Castro. Oh, Marco. Hug on you, Marco Carvalho. Hug, 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 Patrícia. And hug on Tiago too, okay? Hug on Fernanda Moreira. Welcome, welcome. Hug on Laura Colirri. Que saudade. Que saudade. Laura, you and the family. Okay, friends. Ready? You see, our connection is so constructive. It's so beautiful that people, we now put our thoughts and our intentions, feeling the blessings of God, that this current of our intercontinental connection can benefit many people who are now, as we speak, suffering, and we are not aware of. May parents feel more resilient. May children be more loved and cared for. May elderly ones never feel abandoned again, knowing that God loves them. May those who are in jails and in hospitals also feel this constructive mental current of ours and feel the loving embrace as well. Ready, set, and go. Right, Carol Correa? So here we are. Chapter 12. What happens? Remember, Brother Jacob is adapting himself in the new condition. And he's going to begin this chapter in a most moving way. He says, "It is immense consolation to think that death does not interrupt healthy and edifying work. The noble ideals have their true roots in the spiritual life. And beyond the grave, we can continue the service that is tuned with our tendencies and hopes." Ah, what a relief. It is a relief. Because many people think somebody discarnates, oh well, the work is interrupted. It doesn't make sense, right? You remember our dear Mother Mary? When Brother X Another one, Humberto de Campos, in the book Good News, described that when she discarnated, her first wish was not to see her son yet, was to console the souls of those who were following the teachings of Christ and would be suffering. She continued the work and continues to date in many other works. The Legionaries of Mary, as described in the book Memoirs of a Suicide. We also have Paul of Tarsus. Paul of Tarsus teaching us as well how the work goes on. And we have Stephen. Jeziel Stephen, when he discarnated, he continued his amazing legacy on the other side. And as Emmanuel said, Paul of Tarsus would not have existed were it not for Stephen. It's a work at a million hands, not only for, right, Karina? My beautiful, studious Karina. Okay? A hug to you, Karina. So, are you consoled by thinking? And he's saying, we do not interrupt healthy and edifying work. So what is the secret to continue? Well, it depends on our tendencies and hopes. If every day you're dreaming of a better world, if everything you're always connect, like, how can I help others? How can I implement new programs? How can I improve our society? You think when you discarnate you're going to stop? No, the good news is that you're going to be freer to do much more. Because you're not going to have the density of the body and some limitations. But for that we need to practice here. It's like the 5K marathon. To run it, you need to run it here first. The practice, rehearsal, every day when we discarnate. It's a true, beautiful marathon. So the secret is to dream, 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 dream. As André Luiz says in the book Nosso Lar, we first dream and then that becomes an achievement. Everything begins in the mind, Emmanuel says, and then we need to manifest. And even deeper, Gabrielle Delany in the book Reincarnation, matching the teachings about the perispirit in the book Genesis by Kardec. He says that depending on the frequency, the quality, and the intensity of our thoughts, they manipulate the universal cosmic fluid, and those are going to manifest, condense the perispiritual molecules, saturate, this is precisely the word that Gabrielle Delany uses, saturate the molecules of our perispirit, and then manifest in the physical realm. So if we want peace, we need to think of peace. If we want love, we need to visualize it. So everything begins in the planning, in the feeling, the visualization, the seeking, giving direction to the good. And then inevitably we're going to mold it and make it and sculpt it on the earth. Okay? Marco, what book are you talking about? Gabrielle Delany, Reencarnação. It's not in English yet. Reencarnação. Okay? Reencarnação. I think that's the book you're asking, right? If not, let me know, okay? So, if it is true that bad ones sometimes go their own way, shackled to the dark accomplishments, it is equally certain that the task of the well-meaning individual does not suffer a ruinous pause in its unfolding. There are 1,000 different angles in each mission of benevolence, and divine providence favors everywhere the determination of the individual to cooperate in this or that sector of the good. This happens already here. Look at Raul Teixeira. He says, there are 1,000 different angles in each mission of benevolence. Raul Teixeira used to give talks. He used to speak a lot and do a lot of psychography. He's coming back talking, but at a different pace. But now he's working at a different angle. You think God would put a stop and keep him here? No. He's teaching you and I resilience, endurance, humility. He's teaching you and I that there are different ways of serving. Right now we're using our voice. But you know, on July 4th and 5th, there is a phenomenal woman named Amma, right? I think that's her name, from India. She's coming to DC, and all she does is hug. Look at the people hug. There are different ways, angles to benevolence. There are many ways of helping. So if you look at somebody and say, oh, I wish I helped like they do, there are different angles to benevolence. Different angles. Thank you, Adilson. I love Amma too. I want to meet her in person, but I say, she is a lesson for us. That's what he's saying. There are 1,000 different angles in each mission of benevolence, and divine providence favors everywhere the determination of the individual to cooperate. Now listen to this again. Friends, divine providence favors everywhere the determination of the individual to cooperate in this or that sector of the good. And if you have God, well, what? Who cares about who is against it, right? If God is favoring the works of the good everywhere on the earth, do you care about impediments? Do you care about those who are temporarily creating obstacles? God is so good. He's favoring our co-creation. Oh, but Vanessa, there are so many spirits. I agree. There are times that I myself, I am overwhelmed. Like Divaldo Franco said, the spirits that we see lately. And it's sometimes so challenging. But at the end of the day, we go to sleep and we know that God is the only power. That the only power in the universe comes from God. That the only power that exists is love. God is really good. Remember the children's song? God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me. God is so good to me. God is so good to me. God is so good. He's so good to me and to you. Right, Jailton? I know, Adilson, you love Amma, and you know, she's teaching us lessons for sure. Right, Ana Mercia? A hug to you, Ana Mercia. A hug, Margaret. A hug to you too, Tiago. So friends, what a lesson. Divine providence favors the determination to do the good. Keep working, keep working, keep working, and the good will always conquer. My first contact with the associates from the Christian Spiritual Service represented to my spirit priceless encouragement. How happy I was to think of continuing the worthy collaboration. What comfort to see that my defects did not annul me at all for the doctrinal work that I loved so much in the world. See? we want to achieve this level, like Brother Jacob. Our goal is to continue serving. Many people discarnated like, oh my gosh, where's my mom? Where's my dad? Where's my child? We need to practice detachment here. And detachment doesn't mean we're not going to help them. We're not going to be connected to them. We're not going to be expressing our love. It means that we'll be connected. But like our guided model, he was not giving a VIP treatment to his mother, was he? If he did, he never showed it. Not even when he appeared after death. He didn't appear to her first. He appeared to Mary Magdalene. And probably people wanted to crucify him once again. What is this? You're going to show up to this woman and not us, the disciples? But his mother understood it, of course. His mother was really picked by hand to be fulfilling her role. But it's important for us to practice the detachment that the Master has been teaching us. Detach. Detach means we're here, but I'm not dependent on it. Right? Thank you, Ana Mercia. Who am I to say? You are the singer, but we're together on this, right, Ana Mercia? All right. And you know, some people say, isn't that right? Some people say, the day I get better, I'm going to help people. No, it doesn't happen that way. We help now because we have issues to resolve. The work is going to help me grow. But Vanessa, I'm really, not fulfilling many things. Keep trying. Keep working. Remember, effort, repetition are well. Right, Célio? It's good to have you here. And Teresa Catapano. So, friends, the certainty that I would march with fraternal assistance really gave him pleasure. So who was visiting him first? Guilhom Ribeiro. Guilhom Ribeiro not only was one of the presidents of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, but he translated Kardec's works from French to Portuguese. Unbelievable work. It's not trivial at all. Right, Rudy? A big hug on you too, Rudy. And Justine, a big hug, my friend. So, and then Kai Barschutel, who was an important Spiritist promoter. And you know what? He founded the Spiritist magazine in Brazil. I mean, the publisher, O Clarim, the newspaper, the radio there. So he did so much, and still does in the beyond. They came to visit him. They came and did what? Hugged. Whew. Thank God, in the spiritual realm, there's not such thing like, I don't hug. Yes, we hug. And I paid close attention to the presence and talked to both of them. And he observed that they were really different, like more youthful and happy. They presented these halos of light that really brought out their charisma. They inquired about my initial impressions, he's describing, and I began to relate the surprises. Schuttel mentioned the joy with which he gives himself to the service of his rich sowing in his city, Matão, in the countryside of the state of São Paulo. And he spoke of the blessings that he continues to gather in life with so much enthusiasm. I envied him inside of myself. You know, that's why we love Brother Jacob. He's really down to earth, sharing who he is. He didn't mean he felt that unhealthy envy, but he's like, oh man, I want to achieve that. It's like admiration, right? You admire somebody so much, you're like, oh, God bless. I want to go there too. And Kaiba Shuto discarnated and continues the work. It makes so much sense. Guilhom Ribeiro was visibly happy too. And he referred the happiness that he felt in collaborating with the dissemination of the Spiritist teachings, okay, under the direction of Ismael, the one that was assigned to Jesus to promote these ideas of the Christ, the gospel. And he showed great joy in continuing his work with his beloved wife and children who were perfectly integrated in his superior ideal. If you have a husband or wife and children that are not with you on the same page, keep doing your best for yourself, not convincing them. Read the book Renunciation. And you see the girl, Alcyone, and how she lives a life in a true Christian way. And at the end of her life, every family member is embracing the Christian teachings. So do your best. If your spouse and children see that you are coherent, coherence is vital. I know friends who tell me, oh, you know, my parents, they follow this and that religion, but they were not coherent. And that really discouraged me. I say, you know, that's not fair. That you give an excuse by their behavior. But in a way, we influence one another. So we really, really need, in a message by Emmanuel, in a book that now escaped my mind, he says that we belong to one another. You and I belong to one another. Humanity. So it's important to strive for coherence, as Mentor Joseph says. Strive for coherence. And as such, people will feel the vibrations we're emitting, that it feels good. I don't know, I don't believe in this, but you know, whenever I am next to this person, it just feels that it makes sense. And then I keep going. Right, Rita de Cássia? A big hug on you, Rita. Okay? And send my best also to Enilda and Glaucio. Please. So here he says, they both promised me that in a short time I would also resume my activities in spreading Spiritism. Ah, what a joy, huh, for him to know of it. So Guilhom Ribeiro, okay, was asked by Brother Jacob why he was not more often communicating as a spirit in their group in Brazil. So this is interesting for those who are studying mediumship and want to understand more about the beyond and the communication. Guilhom Ribeiro today gives us a lesson about the laws of this interchange. He says, well, Jacob, I visit our organizations almost every day. Pause. You know, the other day I was talking to Mentor Joseph, and I mention often about my conversations with Mentor Joseph because you need to do the same with your guardian angel. Talk constantly. Ask questions. Listen to the counsels. That's why I share with you. Because you need to be familiar with the fact that you need to strengthen this communication with the one that was assigned to God to guide you. Okay? Thank you, Nay. Welcome. A big hug to you. So I was asking Mentor Joseph, you know, our Spiritist Society of Virginia is turning 10 years. And I was asking several questions, and he said, Vanessa, you have no idea about the spirits that come and visit you guys, that are operating through the organization. Spirits of stature that you cannot even imagine. I said, thank God I don't, because I wouldn't understand what to do with the information. And he says the same happens to other spiritist centers around the world. And, you know, it's funny because while our center here is turning 10 years, Baltimore is turning 20 years, and the family center through which my ancestors kept working, my grandmother is still the president in Brazil, is turning 100 years this year in October. And it's surreal to think the work of these spirits, the spirit mentors on the behind the scenes. It's surreal. Their work to help us. But when you enter the Spiritist Center, before you enter the door, the gateway, are you reverent? Are you reverent? Don't think of the incarnates only, but the illuminated discarnates that are working with true devotion to help you, your family, and many others. But are we facilitating their work? Are we being reverent? Are we cooperating with them? The works that they do are immense. Okay? Thank you, Rita Di Cassia. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that they are strong and well. So, he says, I visit them every day. However, you understand the obstacles of premature or inopportune exchange. The fighting, the ones that are struggling there, they must act with free will, as it happens to us, as it happened to us. They make the race to the stage of faith. They need to use their own reason and reveal their own strengths in the fulfillment of the blessings we receive from Jesus. And you will acknowledge with me today that it will not be fair to interfere not only with the supervision that comes from above, from the indirect and wise influence of our advisors, but also on the collaborative services that take place in familiar circles. Whenever possible, I cooperate with friends in developing the ideal we will embrace. However, it is not imperative that they come to know of my personal presence in their tasks. The release of the heavy body does not exempt us from the obligation to serve in the ranks of Spiritism with Jesus. But we can act without identifying ourselves. There is no shortage of means for action without noise, more substantial and more fruitful, attentive as we ought to be to the victory of the Christian idea and not to the indifferent and provisional prevalence of our points of view. Point. 3 times he repeats the same idea. He says, they don't need to identify who they are. They don't need. They can come to your center, to our center, to any center, or even to your home, through the God at Home meeting, deliver a message, and not give you their real name. Why? They're tricking us? No. He's saying here, he's saying, there are ways of acting without noise. The noise of what? The ego. That are more substantial and more fruitful and more attentive to the victory of the ideas. I remember Divaldo Franco telling me When Virginia was born, I was sharing some things with him, and he said, Vanessa, on earth, we still miss the opportunity that people have to work, help in silence, without the need of having a trumpet and say, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No, we don't need to announce to the world, I'm the one doing it. I'm the one who did this. I'm the one and claiming authorship. Who is the author of everything? Who is the author of everything? God. We are co-creators. We have not created anything. I don't need to announce. I don't need to sign contracts saying I was the one, and write books just to make sure the history is made. You know, it's useless. Because history is going to be made according to God's will. The good spirits that are leading the earth, they know the pathways. We cannot manipulate it. So we need to practice in this life, doing the good without the need of claiming authorship. And I say authorship not in terms of books. We're talking about deeds. We do it. Why? Just because. Huh? Thank you, Adilson. We are inviting ourselves as well to establish this connection with our spiritual guides. Something I feel many of us are missing when we are doing our duties, the importance of this link between our guides and us 24/7. Exactly. We need to practice humility, Adilson, and know that the plans are not ours. The center that I coordinate is not mine. Mentor Joseph always tells me, since I was in Baltimore, he was like, I remember I was so happy one day. You know, I love going to the center also when there's nobody there, physically speaking. I love cleaning the center, and I love organizing, and, you know, putting new order, and being there. And I remember one day I bought a new plant, and it was like at the end of one day in which we didn't have a meeting, and I was by myself. And when I got the key, I parked the car, took the elevator, second floor, hallway. When I was about to open the door, the Spirit said of Baltimore, Mentor Joseph said, Vanessa, remember that the center is not yours. When you open the door, remember, we're working here. Make sure you don't make noise. Make sure that you say a prayer. Make sure that you're reminded that this is a place of spiritual service that doesn't stop just because there is no physical meeting. And he says it with kindness, not the way I'm saying. He's very kind. And I said, oh, like a child, like, oh. Okay, so since then, I became less noisy, and I still have to improve a lot. But that's an opportunity for us. Enter the center. Am I helping the spiritual works that are happening 24/7? Or am I creating obstacles? So we really need to be reverent. Right, Adilson? Now he's going to say something that inevitably, if you're in the United States or elsewhere in the world, or even in Brazil, it's a call to all of us. The Brazilian quest in the work of bringing Christ consciousness to the world is much more important than it seems. And in this blessed contribution, there is a place for all the servants of the gospel, although the natural differences in the interpretation of the sacred texts. We're faced with an enormous effort of education, the greatness of which we cannot appreciate for the moment. Thus, it is imperative to use the resources within our reach for the benefit of the general fraternity, with sound and gradual understanding of truth and ultimate good, absent of unpleasant problems of less dignified egotism, which only pride, selfishness, and vanity represents. It is imperative to forget the personal cases, to focus the mind in the collective spirit of the redemptive task. He smiles and he says, we must avoid the complications of our death. Now, we need to practice this. We all here have connections with Brazil, either being born there, connected to a family member, or connected to friends like ourselves. We form a group that needs to diligently deliver the message according to the Christ's plan. Not deliver the message verbally, but in our daily lives. Right, Marilda, welcome. So here we have Rita de Cássia saying, there is an episode when Jesus asks Peter to go to someone's house, very sick, and the only request from him was to elevate in prayer and pray for her. Yes, we talked about this case, you're right. And he got a little distracted looking for some things, and he actually was quite upset with the family that was very disturbed, and he came back and said, it's impossible to help that family. And Jesus said, but I just asked you to help by praying. And that's all we have to do. I was watching a movie the other day about Jesus on Netflix, I think. And it's interesting because they show these little groups through which he gathered together. And then we learn. It's a one-on-one work. This illusion that we're going to have a big microphone and talk to the whole world and say, world, stop. Listen to me. Jesus has come, blah, blah, blah. But not even Jesus does that, because the human mind does not work this way. The human mind, as a psychologist and neuroscientist, we have seen studies showing that this one-on-one conversation and interaction is more powerful than having somebody distant giving directions. We follow according to this identification, and not necessarily that's going to happen quite clearly at a distance. When it does, it's because the one-on-one has already happened. It's the case of Jesus and us. We already know him. We recall, as Emmanuel says, he personally called us one-on-one. And we need to do the same with other friends. Right, Osvaldo? Big hug. But thank you, Rita, for bringing back the teaching that is not mine. I was just sharing, but it's a good reminder of yours. We need to help, and it's on Jesus' plan. He says, go Adilson to New York and help, pray and help, hug everybody there. And Adilson is doing that. And then he's telling to each one of us, care for each person whom we encounter. Hundreds will not come if we don't do it with one. Chico Xavier always made each and every person feel very special. Divaldo Franco, Mother Teresa, As she says, it's not about the masses, the numbers. It's about, Mother Teresa said that, it's about the very next person to you. But we must avoid complications of the ego. And then the two friends discussed. Guilhom Ribeiro said that he didn't live in that colony. He was in another colony with his mother. And Kai Basciuto said that he actually focused himself on extensive organization designed to protect the interest of Spiritism in the same nucleus in which Guilhom Ribeiro had compelled to stay. And they said that they commented, they talked about the service of spirituality in many directions, and they clearly said that they continue the work of helping those minds who are blind, who are feeling hatred, and who want to create obstacles, etc. And they even disclosed to us that Dr. Bezerra de Menezes and another missionary in Spiritism named Sayão, they were given permission to ascend to higher spheres, but they decide to stay here with us to help us. Thank you, Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, for staying here with us. Thank you, Sayão. And they say many institutions of relief and enlightenment are this way maintained in dark regions where the intelligence of tyrannical and shrewd spirits establishes the organized, though temporary, slavery of large numbers of discarnated beings in vigilant and deviance of the divine laws. Okay? That's the reality on the earth. I know everything we're saying is beautiful, but the earth is the earth. And as Divaldo Franco recently disclosed, be vigilant. Be hopeful, but vigilant. Because the forces of darkness are very skillful, daring, and temporarily they are in that position. But they can deviate the pathway that you're following, that I'm following. So we really need to exercise the Christ conscious virtues to make sure that we are grounded. That we are grounded. The action against crime and against ignorance in the sphere surrounding the carnal experience is vigorous and incessant. He stressed the need to take greater advantage of the lessons that Spiritism offers to individuals and explained that the social work that our Consoling Doctrine has been carrying out in Brazil constitutes a valuable frontier effort in many centers of planetary evolution. See? It's like Brazil is ahead. The Spiritist teachings are really ahead in their performance of rescuing and those entities that are of lower order, and also of expanding the Christ consciousness on the earth. He said that Spiritism is called to carry out an immense apostolate of liberation of the human mind, linked to the darkest and most asphyxiating prejudices. So I'm going to give you a tip if you don't know. If you're in a Spiritist center, there is a book titled Educandário de Luz. We're translating this book, I know. Too many books, right? But we're translating Educandário de Luz by several spirits through Chico Xavier. It's dedicated to raise awareness and calibrate Spiritist centers. It's a phenomenal book. And he says, the Spiritist center is a temple to renew our minds. To renew our minds. We need to work in our inner transformation. Because nobody advances a hand in the way of eternity without light of his own. So he says, we really need to work. And he says, now that we are in another vibrating region of the planet, we could gauge the extent of the struggle. It was as common to be reborn in the physical plane as to die in it. And if the landscape of happy spheres was an attainable reality, it is no less imperative and true that we must improve ourselves in order to merit them. Right, Lisa Teles? Thank you for sharing your kindness. The good spirits certainly favor us in this group so we can share. You are a multiplier, my friend. You and I here are working together to multiply the good news. Multiply. And finally, as we come to an end of this chapter, I would like to share with you divine light, the divine night, okay? After the long and instructive lecture, Guilhom Ribeiro Enxuto invited me to visit the city of Rio de Janeiro. Brother Andrade agreed. Martha stayed there. And then they together were visiting, okay, the city. And I'm going to tease you. May I tease you just a little bit? I'm going to show you the picture that was put together by the team of Projeto Imagem, okay? Let me show it to you. There you go. Here we have Brother Jacob, Guilhom Ribeiro, and our friend Kaiba Shuto. They talk, and then they say, let's go visit Rio de Janeiro. And then he starts describing. You see them here? Look, over here. If you're listening to this at Kardec Radio or any other day, you can see the pictures by going to Facebook Live at Kardec Radio or by going to YouTube at Kardec Radio, and you see the pictures, okay? Here we have the description, the simple sweet melodies that they listened, children who were there singing, and there was a beautiful crescent moon. And then we were on our way and trusting the generosity of those who were watching us, and he asked, or he exclaimed, Guilhom, you know that I always devoted love and veneration to Bittercourt Sampaio. Where will he be? Can I find him? And he informed me that Bittercourt was actually in a higher plane, but he would come to visit me and welcome me in the temple. But just as a teaser, tomorrow we're going to discuss the excursion to the earthly planes. And the first thing they're going to describe is this. What happens in the streets? Look at the discarnate spirits obsessing a man and others who are enveloped by illuminated friends. You want to know more? Easy. Come back tomorrow and we'll be sharing with you the beautiful chapter about working circles. They're not visiting Rio de Janeiro out of curiosity. They're doing this to work. They're going to visit a Spiritist Center, mediumistic meeting, and the works in there. You're excited? Me too. And then we're feeling more and more how much we need to step back, recompose ourselves to help more the good spirits. Right, Jailton? The colony is somewhere connected to the city of Rio de Janeiro. But remember, it's an emergency colony. Nosso Lar is also nearby, but this one is at a different dimension, but close for sure, as far as we know, okay? So right now, what should we do for the next 24 hours? Let's practice with a single exercise. As he says here, and I'm going to read it again. He says, action without noise. to make it fruitful. Don't claim authorship, just help. Practicing during this Father's Day. Yes, in the United States, it's going to be Father's Day on Sunday, June the 18th. And we can practice this service without claiming that I was the one who did it, that I was the one who started it, blah, 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 blah. Help, and especially help without making noise. Shall we do it? Yes? And meanwhile, sing, sing a song. Make it simple to last your whole life long. Right? No matter what anyone else, na 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 na, just sing the song of the heart. Sing a song. Thank you, friends. It's Angelita's birthday. I'm gonna give her a hug. Thank you, Rihanna, Fernanda, Jailton, beautiful Carol Correa, and all of you. And let's keep singing. La 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 la, la 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 la, without making noise. La 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 la. And a hug.